perspective now from Eylon Levy, who joins us, the former spokesperson for the Israeli government. Thank you, sir. I almost feel like I'd be remiss, and I certainly want to talk to you about the war effort on multiple fronts, if I didn't begin, however, with at least one question about kind of broader anti-Semitism globally. My colleague Laura Ingle was just reporting on this story breaking out of Michigan back in the United States. Guy tries to does ram a car in a synagogue. It actually sounds like a situation that could have been far worse, but still the intent was there. What would you say to people, and what context would you put that in, even though we don't know a lot about direct links to what we're covering here or anything just yet?
Now, we don't know whether the shooter was far left, far right, Islamist, and frankly, it's terrifying that it could be any of those. Anti-Semitism is absolutely off the charts. The October 7 massacre here in Israel was the opening shot of a global war that has been waged against Jewish people. Last year, there were 4 deadly attacks on Jews outside Israel in Colorado, Washington, D.C., Manchester, England, Sydney, Australia, of course, the famous massacre on Bondi Beach. And that is why even synagogues in the United States that thought they were the safest places in the world now look like fortresses. There is a big, powerful ideological movement that is bringing together the far right and the far left around hatred of Jews and Israel, convincing them that Israel, Jews who support it, is the root of all evil in the world. It is bringing violence to the streets of the West, political violence, and I hope that countries understand and crack down on those who are spreading hateful rhetoric about Israel, about Jews, because it is causing blood to be spilled on the streets of Western cities.
On a personal level, to sit in Israel, a nation that has sirens going off nightly, missiles being fired at it, and then pick up your phone or TV or whatever it is and see a headline like this from back in the United States, how does that feel?
It's deeply disturbing. We understand that the same people who are trying to kill us here are trying to kill people all over the world. Look, Israel put out a few days ago its most dramatic travel warning ever, perhaps, warning Israelis to stay away from synagogues anywhere in the world, because of the fear of either Iranian sleeper cells or other terrorist groups or extremists feeling emboldened by this moment who could take violent action, globalize the intifada, as protests have been calling, against Jews around the world. So Israelis here who have friends and family in the United States, England, in Australia, in Europe, are deeply anxious and concerned and determined to fight against the hatred that has led to that political violence being brought to the streets of the West.
All right, give me your perspective now on the war effort. I said earlier that, to me, broadcasting from Dubai once again tonight, especially over the last day or two, it does not feel like a war that is certainly over or anywhere close to over, with all these ships being set on fire in the Strait of Hormuz, even though the pounding of Iran continues from both the Israelis and the Americans. There's something about this that feels like it might be more prolonged. Do you feel the same way, or do you feel differently?
The Iranian regime built a fearsome war machine, and it is going to take time for the US-Israeli coalition to dismantle the Iranian regime's ability to project power beyond its borders. The most dangerous thing right now would be for the US to quit while it is ahead and leave the Iranian regime to plot revenge. The United States understands Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terror. It has funded the groups that have killed hundreds of American servicemen, and it was chasing the most deadly weapons in the world. Right now, it's going to take time to demolish that war machine. We've seen how they have indiscriminately and recklessly attacked civilian targets all around the region, countries that aren't involved, countries that were even trying to mediate the sham negotiations that were taking before. I think the whole region now sees that the Iranian regime is a clear global threat to them, and this war has to end with the Iranian regime no longer able to exercise aggression against its neighbors, no more nuclear weapons, no more ballistic missile program, no support for its terrorist forces across the region, or the regime that is now openly threatening President Trump again, one of the main ayatollahs putting a fatwa on his head, will only be more dangerous as it nurses and licks its wounds.
Live pictures of Beirut as you and I speak, and there's an active scene again tonight. So does Israel view this as all one conflict or separate issues, and one in Lebanon that could go on no matter what happens in Iran?
As far as Israel is concerned, this is the same war that began on October 7, 2023, when we were invaded by by the Iranian regime's proxy army in Gaza. The October 7 massacre was the opening shot of a regional war against Israel that has seen it attacked on 7 fronts by the Iranian regime and its proxies, 8 fronts if you include attacks on Jewish people across the diaspora. Now, the war with Hezbollah ended with a diplomatic agreement. It ended with a ceasefire, an agreement that Lebanon was going to dismantle Hezbollah. It didn't. Hezbollah remained in place. They continued rearming. They started firing again at Israeli civilians. And Israel now sees this as a historic opportunity to remove this illegal parasitic proxy army from Lebanon that is under the command of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, so they can no longer terrorize Israelis in the north of the country with anti-tank missiles and other rockets, and remove that threat. And now we're seeing the Lebanese finally getting serious about ejecting Hezbollah, because Israel is giving them both the opportunity and the urgency to finally free themselves from the shackles of the Iranian regime.
Eylon Levy, thank you very much. Perspective from Israel.